When people ask me about my comic roots, my source of inspiration, where do I go, what do, I think, I don't do anything except go to the pub and have a drink. So it must have something to do with pubs. So let's you and me crawl around some of the pubs and drinking establishments that I've been in over the years. Yes. This is actually the first pub that I ever came in. It was when I was about 14, you know, and I didn't have any trouble getting served because I looked like this when I was 14, you know. In fact, I've looked like this since I was 3. But it came as a kind of revelation to me because I was a very quiet kid, you know, and I was taking the dog for a walk one day, you know, and I thought, stuff this, I'm going for a pint. And, you know, from that day to this, I've never looked back. You don't like to look back, do you? You know, because you might see the big bunny, you know, with the sharp pointed teeth and the claws, and the lizards and the bats, but I try not to worry about that, you know. Actually, that's it's a thing about drinking, really, isn't it? You know, the blackouts. You know, never happened to you. You know, you just have a couple of pints, you know, and then you wake up next morning completely naked in an unfurnished flat in Istanbul. You know, and a man comes through the door and says, "We've got the turnips for you now, Mr. Saunders." No, it doesn't happen to me either, you know, just making it up, you know. Used to be a great pub, this, you know. Say, a few years ago, Liverpool City Council had this brilliant plan that they're going to solve all the problems of Liverpool by turning it into a holiday centre. And what you're going to show people, piles of rubble. Whenever you're showing anybody from, like, outside town around Liverpool, all you can do is point to piles of rubble and say, that used to be a really great pub, that, you know. Or you say, like, over there, right, was a dance hall. It was the exact shape of the Acropolis. It was lit up by laser beams at night. It had an oyster bar, and there was a place where airships could tie up. Now, it's an irregular patch of mud the shape of General de Gaulle. Say, when I was a lad here in Liverpool, the town council were bent, the architects were bent, the planners were bent, the developers were bent, even the pet shops were taking bribes, and you couldn't get a drink after 10:30. I wonder if anything's changed. What time do the pubs close these days?
10:30.
Suddenly, it's 3 o'clock. The afternoons are all too short, and the pubs are now closed. The dedicated drinker is left with few alternatives to while away the hours until 5:30, when those hallowed portals swing open again. On a mellow summer afternoon, many drinkers come down to the park and recite avant-garde poetry.
Yeah, parrot, yes, doggy.
Now, as you know, it's very difficult for English people to get a drink in a pub between 3 and 5:30 in the afternoon, just in case we lose the First World War. So, if you do want to carry on drinking in the afternoon, you're left with a fairly limited number of options. For instance, you can sit on a park bench and swig some cider, but that has dangerous side effects, as you can probably tell.
You killed my parrot, you killed my sister in Wolverhampton, you doggy, pussycat. I've got some dolphins in my trousers. Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The buffet car situated in the centre of the train is now open for the sale of light refreshments, snacks, toasted sandwiches, tea, coffee and alcoholic beverages.
American, big hat, big cigar, dozen cameras, watching this English farmer dig potatoes.
Oh, Mr. Anderson, what are you doing?
Yes, I'm digging potatoes, look at that. He says, you call them potatoes? In the US of A, we grow potatoes that big. He says, ah, well, we only grow them in this country to fit our mouths.
Well, if you don't want to have a drink in a park bench in the afternoon, why not get on a train? Because you can drink right through the afternoon on a train with no problems with the licensing laws or losing the First World War. Absolutely cracker. It's very sophisticated. You can have a toasted sandwich, or you can have a drink, you can have an express burger, or you can have a drink. Absolutely great. It's useful for me because as a lad, I got free travel because my dad worked on the railways, you see. But if you don't get free travel, you can still take advantage of British Railways breakaway a drink a day offer. Absolutely fantastic. Actually, it was very useful to me as a lad having free rail travel because the family was so poor that what we had to do was we had to live on a train for 5 years. And you can often spot people who live on trains, you know, because they can never use the toilet unless it's moving.
Train now arriving at platform 3 is the 15:30 from Liverpool Lime Street.
Then open again.
Will Mr. A. Khomeini, a passenger arriving from Tehran on the Taramusalata Express, please go to the station master's office where there is a message from Allah waiting for him.
One day, I got off the train and I bumped into this bloke that I was at school with in Liverpool. And he introduced me to this whole circle of people who lived around Euston Station. You know, all Scousers like, who stumbled off the train completely drunk and bumped into a bloke they were at school with, you know. In fact, this area around Euston is actually known as Little Liverpool. You can get all kinds of Liverpool produce in the shops. Hickson's Beer, Liverpool Echo. They have rioting every other Friday. Some of these Scousers actually work for British Rail, you know, hiding the luggage trolleys. But it's a great atmosphere around here. The only problem is the housing crisis in London is terrible. When I moved in with this bloke, there was 17 of us living in one room, and I was paying £6 a week to live in the drip tray of the fridge. There was a mate of mine, Trevor. He was paying £8 a week, and he lived in Rugby. It was very poor, but what we used to do, to amuse ourselves, like, we used to do these little sketches, Scouse sketches, and little skits, and folk dancing, stuff like that, you see, to amuse ourselves. And that's really how I got started in the business. If you believe that, you're stupid. John?
Hello, John.
How you doing, son?
All right, son.
Terrific.
Fantastic.
Here, John, can I have a pint and me hat, please?
Yeah, fancy seeing your boat on this manor then, eh? Wait, John, you seen who's there? Hey, John, how are you?
All right, mate.
All right.
Terrific, yeah.
Terrific.
No, just saying I can't out to see John. Yeah, see the kippers. Yeah, well, I'm gonna give him a cockle for him or something. You know what I mean?
Well, you give him a couple of cockles.
Yeah, cockles, donkey, something like that. You know what I mean?
You got plenty of money then, ain't you?
Oh, I have. Well, I get it off old John, you know.
Yeah, have you seen what's his name lately?
What, John with the
Funny eye.
That's right.
You know, his missus has run off, didn't she?
What? Who's she run off with?
Rita. You know Rita, his
Rita,
missus.
yeah.
She's only gone and left with,
What, John?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen him for ages,
He's mixing around on other manors. What am I on then, John?
Yeah, you're on stripes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I went down to John's place to pick up a couple of, Newport Road Oldlands, like. And yeah, right. I saw there. What? Go on, have a guess. Go on, have a guess.
No, go on, tell me.
Go on, go on, have a guess.
Go on, tell me.
Go on.
I'm not supposed to know. Go on. You tell me, go on.
Guess, go on, guess.
No, I don't know, do I?
I'll tell you how I saw the other day in the Balls Pond Road. I saw John.
You're kidding.
Nah, large as life and a third as cheerful.
Yeah?
John. As I stand on me, I saw John. He just got out. Chokey.
Got out of Chokey?
Yeah, and you know who's sharing a cell with?
Who?
John.
Not John from, what's his name?
Nah, not that John, the other one, the one with the limp.
Oh, yeah, the geezer with the old funny
right,
twitch.
yeah.
Who was he with? Not, what's his name?
No, I'll tell you who he's with. He's with John. Yeah, and that other fella, what's his name? That other bloke?
Small geezer.
Small geezer, yeah.
Short hair?
Yeah, that's
Overcoat?
right. Yeah.
In the summer?
Yeah.
I know him.
What's his name? I think it's Roger. I don't believe in all this keep fit jive. I mean, my idea of a marathon is 93 pints and a chicken curry. Well, I love watching them marathons on the telly, you know. The ones I like best are the wobblies, you know, the ones with the legs. This heart attack's doing me a lot of good. The ones I like best are the ones who collapse 3 foot from the finishing line and they never get their little medal to keep for always. I mean, your life's got to be pretty empty, hasn't it, if you run 26 miles, 365 yards dressed as a Welsh dresser in pine. No. Keeping fit can do you a lot of harm, so I've invented this method where you avoid complete fitness. It's actually the Alexei Sayle way to keeping fat, the keep fat method. It's called the science of chair-obics.
Okay, this is the total chair-obics method. What you need is 2 cans of lager and a comfy armchair. Work those cans, go for it. Pull those rings, pull those ring pulls. And drink. Try and get out the chair. You can't because you put on 18 stone already. You're looking good and go for it. Yeah, that's nice. Do the swim. Have a drink. Have another drink. Have 27 drinks and work those cans. 2, 3, 4 under the leg and try and get out the chair and take a drink. Okay, watch out for the spontaneous emissions here. Nice, you're looking good. Drink deep, go for the burp. Lift those cans again. Hey, now, you want to develop some fatty tissue around the behind. Why not get a top management job with ICI? Or, conversely, just drink some more lager. And throw up in the jacuzzi.
Over the road there is Chelsea School of Art, where I was subjected to 3 years of total nonsense. See, I went to art school because I was dead good at drawing horses out my head, and apples and post boxes. I could draw them without looking at pictures and nothing, you know. I was great at it. But think of modern artists. Modern art, nobody knows what the hell it's about, right? I mean, it largely consists of people walking about shopping precincts painted green with teapots on their heads. And the thing is that if you walk around a shopping precinct with a teapot on your head, nobody knows what it's about. So you have to be very good at the old chit-chat. You have to be able to say, well, the reason that I'm walking around a shopping precinct painted green with a teapot on my head is basically that I'm confronting people's attitudes to the conceptual nature of a transgressional reality. And all I could say, it's a horse, you know, and I draw it out my head without a photograph. It's no good. See, being a successful artist today, it's all about good manners. It's about the cut of your kicker boots and the way you hold your Coke spoon, you know. It's all about being neat and nice and all that. And all I could do was draw horses out my head. So I just used to, you know, nobody wanted to know me. I just used to come in, sit here, drink and get depressed and draw the old horses, you know, in beer on the table. But one day, I plotted me revenge. One day, I'm going to save up all my money, and I'm going to buy my own art school, and I'm going to make people paint pillar boxes all the time, and horses and stuff like that. And then I'll have my revenge. I will return Chelsea Art School. I'll be back.
Is Alexei Sayle of the Daily Drinker.
By now, we're getting a bit drunk. So we want a bit of protective coloration, so we don't stand out. So we come to where there are more drunks per square centimetre than anywhere else in the entire universe. That's Fleet Street in London. Littered with alcoholics. Now, for a long time, I wondered why this was, until suddenly I figured it out. See, the thing is that for a living, I tell silly stories. I make them up and I tell them. and that's all right. But this lot here are supposed to tell you the truth. Except they don't. They don't. They make it all up. They change a fact here, they change a fact there to suit their editor or the political bias in whoever's paying for them. They just change facts, just make it up. It's all complete nonsense. Now, everybody who reads the paper thinks it's the truth. But they know that it's all a load of twaddle. And they feel guilty about it. So what do? They drink. Sinners, yea, repent. Sinners, yea.
Over on the bad side of town, in thousands of steaming basements, London's working-class youth tribes, punks and skinheads, rastas and soul boys, gather to get down and dance to their favourite music. They don't need this pressure on. They don't need this pressure on. Hey, young guns, go for it. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. The disco. What's old Lex doing in a disco? Sure, they've got drink, but why's he here? Well, I like a dance. I have about 98 pints and then a little dance and I wear off 98 pints, then have another 3,000. Another dance, absolutely fantastic. But dancing is actually very important to me. And I'll tell you why. Because dancing is the one thing that the ruling class, i.e. posh people, cannot do. If you ever see them at some May ball or some disco having a bop going, yes, fantastic, like a field of windmills flailing away. Now, it's important. The dance is basically a working class thing because it's one of the few things that we've got. Posh people can't dance and they can't swear, but we can't go into that on television. And they don't often have proletarian revolutions, but we'll ignore that for a minute. Dancing, right? Posh people can be anything they want. They can be flash society photographers. They can have their own crazy satirical shows on Granada television. They can be authors because they've got 98 publishers in their family, but they can't dance. That's why dancing is so important. Dancing actually changed my life, and I'd like to tell you about it, because you broke my heart because I couldn't dance. You didn't even want me around. But now, I'm back to show you that I can really shake 'em down.
I'm a bit sophisticated these days, you know. I'm a bit stamp, you know, a bit swab. So I don't go to pubs much anymore. I go to wine bars. Very sophisticated wine bars. I'm dead sophisticated. Like I eat pate, you know, without lettuce or nothing, and I've got one of them food blenders with all the attachments, you know, the choppers and the blenders and the donkey molesters and everything, you know. I get down the old wine bar, you know. Great place for wine bars, Hampstead. As you're down that way in Hampstead, you know, they've just changed the local church to Christ's Wine Bar. It's really groovy, you know. Hampstead's a great wine bar place, though, you know. They got it. See, Hampstead is actually where all the rich left-wing people live. They have the same kind of expensive cars and flashy furniture as the rich right-wing. They just feel more guilty about it. Back when somebody from Hampstead's drowning all their previous furniture passes in front of them. I used to perform in places like this, wine bars, you know. I'd come on after the busker who was doing variations on Blowing in the Wind on an accordion, you know. Now, I used to perform, like, I didn't get any money, I just got all the brown rice after these. I used to come on and shout at people and spit brown rice all over them, you know. Funny old guy in comedy, really, innit? You know what I mean? And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. I've lived a life that's full. I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life of fun. I'll travel each and every highway, but more, much more than this. I did it my way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's have your glasses now. Come on now, lads, let's have your glasses now, please.
Closing time. The time we all dread more than anything else in the world. What can we do now? What can we do now? Well, we could wander around Smithfield Market with a pork chop on our head at 6 o'clock in the morning. Don't fancy that. You can buy beer or wine in a restaurant up until 12 o'clock if you are accompanied by a member of the Coldstream Guards. No good. You can drink beyond territorial waters on an oil rig, drinking just beer if you're accompanied by a fish, if the fish is wearing a tie. No good. Want to stay in London? Want to stay here? No, I'm pretty well known round these parts. Bit of a TV personality. All my mates here. I like mates. Of course, I'm so well known in this pub being a TV personality that I can get afters. I stay behind. But first of all, I've got to go out with all the other Joes, you know, and look casual, because otherwise they'll get jealous because they're not TV personalities. So I'll just saunter out casually with this lot, okay? To get a stay behind, there's a certain ritual that you have to go through, you know. What you have to do in this pub, you have to folk dance round to the other bar, singing in Polish, right? And then you give the secret knock. Okay, so here we go. Sorry about this. Excuse me, hello? Hello? I'm a TV personality. Sorry about this. It's not that good a pub anyway. You can't get into a pub for a stay behind, then one of the places you can come to in London is a cocktail bar. And cocktails are terribly fashionable at the moment. Yes, I'll have a Metal McKay, Dave will have the Brazilian Garage, and I don't know the name of what Trish is having, but it looks like a cup of phlegm with a tree growing in it. Have a cocktail, please. Thank you. But actually, this is Stringfellows, actually, in the heart of London. And this is where all us famous people come to for a drink. Thank you very much. And it's where, you know, like James Hunt, Rupert Murdoch, Prince Edward, you know, they've been down the pub, they've had a few light and bitters, you know what I mean, some chips, feel a bit thirsty, so they come down to Stringfellows. There's tons of famous people like myself actually come to Stringfellows. Oh, look, over there, it's Yuri Andropov, President of the Soviet Union. Yuri, hi. How's Rachel? Nostrovoshidzie. Oh, Voshidzie, Nostrovoshidzie, Boyedzie, Pravda, Nostrovoshidzie. Yes, and over there in the corner, I think I just noticed Rowan Atkinson talking to Bruce Springsteen. Brucey, love, hey, give me 5. Yes, really amazing, yeah. Actually, a lot of people come to Stringfellows have been thought to be dead for several years. For instance, in the corner over there, we've got Jimi Hendrix talking to Elvis Presley, and they're going to be having a drink later with Glenn Miller. And of course, the wonderful thing about Stringfellows is that they protect all us famous people, that if any drunk is actually bothering anybody, then he's immediately ejected.
And don't come back, you drunken yobbo!
Well, if you're not rich or privileged enough to go to a cocktail bar, there has been a place open in London for about 4 years where you can get a late night drink and a bit of live entertainment thrown in. Here we are at London's famous comedy store, where the late night drinker can have a few bevies, see some outrageous comedy and shout his head off. Great, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Comedy Store. As you know, the Comedy Store is the home of avant-garde comedy, and we've got some great comedians for you tonight. We've got some utterly hopeless ones. As you know, anybody can get up and perform, but I'd like to crave your indulgence for some of the comedians, because it's actually a very difficult business being a comedian, and it was actually very difficult for me, because I got started when I was at school. You know, you've heard that expression, young, gifted and black. Well, I was short, fat and Jewish, which at the Joseph Goebbels Memorial School for the Sons of betamax parachutists, not a good thing to be. It's a no-no, or a niet-niet, whichever you want. I've heard that before! You pinched that off Clement Attlee! Anyway, it's a bad trip. It's a day return to Sheffield, you know. Anyway, one day we were actually in domestic science, you know, and we were making some lentil fondue or something like that. And get a fat bastards! I just stuck my head in the blender, you know. They got a great big laugh, you know. Big round of applause. They got all my hair cut off and everything, you know. I was covered in lentils, you know, but the main thing was they got a laugh, and I was really excited, you know. So the next day, right, I was so illuminated.
I was actually the compere here for about a year. And, like, apart from introducing the acts, the most difficult part of the job was coping with the hecklers, which is where I sort of honed my unique style of performance comedy, you know. Because you get these office parties in from ICI or World Sausage Works, you know, all shouting their heads off and proving how witty they were to all their mates, you know.
Everything goes quiet, right? In the silence, I jump up and I go, "Get stuffed, Baldy!" They got another laugh, you know. Do some funny jokes. People were throwing bottles and flowers and hand grenades, you know. Absolutely fantastic. Until by the end of the term, I was actually going round with a sawn-off shotgun, sticking it in my mouth like that and going, "Look, lads, look, I'm going to shoot my head off now. I've seen shopping precincts funnier than you. Listen, mate, why don't you